Hi, everybody. So, as you can tell, we have been kind of busy starting this new thing called Baking with Beauty. And it's because we have a lot of really not only gorgeous recipes that have come through our hands, but a lot of really pretty foods that we have created in our kitchens. And so, just yesterday, Quiet decided that he would make what's called a no-knead buttermilk bread, and that's what you're looking at. There's 3 loaves, and actually the pizza peel that you see in the background is a rather large pizza peel. So these loaves ended up being about 8 or 9 inches by about 4 inches or so in height, and of course the typical cracking on the top, but he didn't have too much of a difficult time baking these breads. And so I want to share the recipe with you. As we are trying to promise, we will put the recipes all in the bottom bar here over at YouTube. So, it's just a really simple, elegant recipe of, what do we have here? We don't have enough light, actually. So you're going to start off with some water and buttermilk. You need some yeast, kosher salt, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of flour. You have some dusting flour and melted butter. And so maybe he's going to stop by and tell us about his experience in baking the bread and just a couple of tips that he'd like to share with others that are about to embark on a no-knead, K-N-E-A-D, a no-knead bread. So let's see if he'll come and talk to us. Hold on just a moment. Did you hear me?
What's going on?
Yeah, just come in and chat with everybody. I'll interview you, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So say hi to everybody.
Hello.
So you're out and about looking for bread recipes. How did you find this one?
Well, I was going to make what's called English muffin bread,
Well, that sounds good.
but then I realized I didn't have any milk. You need milk to make that.
Oh, God.
And I had buttermilk, so I looked up a buttermilk recipe. This recipe is pretty good and pretty easy. It could have been done in loaves, and you could slice it just like kind of buttermilk sliced bread. Things I would do different, I would probably warm up the buttermilk. Calls for a cup of, calls for lukewarm water, but just a cup of buttermilk, but I think it should have been warmed up. That would have helped my yeast.
Oh, activate.
A little, make it a little easier for it.
So why don't we talk about the rising process?
Because it was a little cold in the kitchen.
That's true. You do have to good bakers have a very warm kitchen, I think. I think it really has something to do with it. It's a pre-warmed kitchen. Did you say lukewarm, right? Just kind of warm to the touch kitchen.
No, it depends what,
part of the proofing process.
Room temperature is. If it's a little where you put the dough and.
Right. So, of course, I came in at the rising process, which I'm always fascinated by, that the yeast has this reactive, even though it has not been kneaded, which is traditional and bakes that rise, breads that rise, is that you go through this heavy kneading. So what you found here was that you covered actually the loaves in a plastic wrap. And what did you learn from that? Do you think it did make a difference that you had put the plastic on?
Oh, once the loaves were
once you formed, yeah.
Formed. Yeah, I suppose I could have used a loose towel or something. I was more concerned about trying to keep them a little bit warm.
And so we talked about the warming drawer, using the warming drawer, or maybe opening up the oven a little bit so that they had time, because actually the rise takes how long? What does the Your recipe calls for
2 hours. 2 hours, and then the rest
wow,
is,
2 hour rise.
some people say 40 minutes, some people say 90. I just,
Do you think a lot of bread bakers that they don't know how far the yeast can actually stretch? Because a lot of breads, of course, fall, don't they? That people think, oh, look, I'm getting all of this rise out of the yeast. And then the minute that they take it out of the bowl, the air comes out, or that they hold or handle the breads and put them on the stones. Let's talk about putting them on the stones and deciding to bake bread on the stones, which is just so, so cool.
well, I preheated the stone, and then my dough was a little wet, and I was also used whole wheat flour, so I didn't have maybe quite the gluten I would have had if it was straight bread flour.
So you did modify the recipe a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, it just looks so tasty. Are you going to slice some up for yourself in a little bit here?
Yeah, it's got a nice crust,
Yeah.
and
Well, I'll
tastes
give
real good.
our listeners a little tip. We do have a slicer, and we know that a lot of times, well, food goes further when you're able to calibrate slicing. And so the bread will go through a slicer more than likely, which is kind of neat because you can change the width of the breads as you're using them for different things. And that one of the elegant things to do is to give yourself these very thin, paper thin slices of butter. Really makes a difference, doesn't it? Just a little elegant little touch when you're using butter. Don't grab big splats of butter, but to elegantly slice your butter in these very thin, lovely paper thin kind of slices to put on your warm no knead buttermilk bread. Thank you very much, Quiet. This has been
You're welcome.
Baking with Beauty, bringing you buttermilk bread, no knead. And we'll throw the recipe down below. I can't even tell you where it came from. Some sort of kitchen, that, and this and the other, with lots of disclaimers. We'll give everyone the proper accreditation. Thank you very much. And put any comments down below. Make sure that you subscribe to us. You can find me over at Twitter and all sorts of other places if you're interested in my wackadoodle travels with Barbie. Yeah, Mattel's a Barbie. Hit me up over at Pinterest. It's been a wonderful day speaking with you, baking with you. Bye-bye now. Say goodbye.
Bye.